everybody. Welcome to DIVADads, episode 16. The whole reason we're running a little bit late tonight is because Dobby couldn't get the cork out of the wine. That's
No, I was trying to time that for a comedic effect of like the popping sound during the intro, but it's all right. I missed it.
Okay.
Hi, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Hello. Happy Friday.
How y'all doing?
Friday.
So, how's everyone doing?
I'm doing well. I'm tired because I've done 2 whole days of school.
Oof.
And it's exhausting. It's all new schedules, and we've got face-to-face kids and online kids at the same time. It's an adventure. So, but the kids are doing great. They're wearing their masks. They're staying away from each other for the most part. So I'm pretty proud of them right now. So
Excellent. Mike, how was your week?
Good. Just busy. We close on our home Monday, so hopefully life will get a lot more simpler soon. So, but yes, just
Perfect. Dana, I know you've had a lot going on. How you doing
Yeah,
tonight?
but it's good. It's good. It's all good. Good things happening. So a lot of support and good thoughts and prayers from everybody. It's been fantastic. And but yeah, we work was freaking nuts, man. We got new hires coming in, and yeah, it's gonna be crazy the next couple of weeks. But I'm really looking forward to Mike getting settled in, so he doesn't miss another Tuesday production meeting.
Because we accomplished so much at those Tuesday meetings.
Sometimes there's a lot of alcohol
Drinking.
consumed.
Yeah. He's watching his figure. That's why he keeps skipping those meetings.
yeah.
So random theater news for the theater company. We are doing a back to school sale on our masks, and we're shipping now. So I shipped like 5 or 6 packages, masks all over, including Cameron in New York
Nice.
City. So we get to support the post office by buying postage, and we get to send masks that look awesome all around the country.
Awesome.
I know that you guys have, Rodney has a very special drink plan, but I really want to acknowledge quickly my drink. I'm drinking Pinot Grigio in honor of our guest tonight because she is our newest convert. Thanks to her roommate Kayla and myself, but mostly Kayla, we finally have Katie addicted to the Real Housewives of New York City. So it's turtle time tonight in honor of Kate Mitchell and Lindsay joining our cult. Yeah?
yeah, I don't understand what any of that you just said, but okay.
It's not for
I'm
you.
just nod and smile.
It's not for you. In other theater news, the Tonys are happening.
Sweet.
They announced today in a statement. So initially, the Tonys are usually in early June. Obviously, that didn't happen, and a lot of the shows, shows strategically plan their openings to be considered for Tonys. Just like around Christmas time, you have a bunch of movies drop just in time to be considered for the Oscars. Shows that want to be considered for a lot of Tonys try to open up kind of right after the new year, and that's when all this craziness happened and everything had to be shut down. So they are going full digital, and they are going to be in the fall. They don't have a date yet, but it's exciting that we know that the Tonys are going to happen. And they're going to be a lot more exciting. I know the Emmys are going digital too, but I don't know what we're excited to see at the Emmys, like everyone's living rooms. I don't know. But at the Tonys, we can actually see some really cool stuff and maybe see some cool performances. So that makes me happy. Okay, so I'm going to continue drinking my Pinot Grigio.
Okay, so first of all, I got to talk about the teen update.
Yes.
So the teens are coming back. I apparently have a video waiting in the drive to post on Facebook. So that will be coming tomorrow, most likely. I hear that it's a 2-parter where they are rating like clothing styles. So
guys, watch out, guys.
Yeah, be ready for some tea from the teens as they do that. But now that that's going,
Hold on, before you do that, can we acknowledge? Well, sorry. The teens.
you go ahead and acknowledge while I get ready for my cocktail.
Perfect. Half of our teens are starting high school this week. That's bananas. So to all of our teenagers, and not just the teenagers, but to all of the theater company kids that are starting school this week, and all of our theater company teachers, because we've got a ton of teachers that are a part of the theater company family, including Rodney. Y'all hang in there. It's going to be a great year. Don't be scared. Don't be stressed. Hopefully we'll have theater for you soon to come hang out with. But for now, do good in school. It's going to be great. Right, Mike?
While we're waiting for that guy, I don't know what's different tonight about Dobson's look, but freaking chat is blowing up talking about
I should pay attention to that.
Yes, chat is losing it. I mean, I think Michelle
All right,
Campbell Green.
enough about Dobson.
Oh
It's enough.
my God!
We talk about her all the time. It's time for a drink. Now I've got a special guest this week to help me with my drink. This week I'm going to be making the Catwoman, and I've invited the Catwoman herself. So Dana, she's waiting in the waiting room. Bring her in.
We got her.
She's got this real like Lee Merriweather thing going. Look at that. Beautiful. Welcome, Selena. All right. So we're gonna make the Catwoman. Selena, do you know what do we need to do?
A lot of things. I'm gonna let you guide us in this one, Batman.
You can never depend on a supervillain to help you out on things. Okay, so fill up your cocktail shaker with some ice. You got any ice over there, Catwoman?
I don't have a shaker, but I have ice. I brought it upstairs.
It's fine.
In
You're
the
gonna
tray.
be fine. Just stir it like you're James Bond. Okay,
I appreciate
so you're gonna need your favorite bourbon or favorite whiskey. I'm sure it doesn't matter. 2 shots.
Is that your favorite one, Batman?
Yes.
Wait, really
Bacon
quick. I need
Mark
to
is
also
delicious.
clarify that James Bond likes it shaken, not stirred. Correct? I just think that the people deserve to know. And I'm sorry. Keep going. I'm sorry.
After this, you're going to jail. All right. So you get your 2 shots of your bourbon. Then you need a shot of sweet vermouth because Catwoman is a little sweet. All right.
Just a little.
So 1 shot of that.
Okay.
Then you need, now this, Batman had to go find this. I had to go to 2 liquor stores to find this.
Same. We talked about this today.
I don't know what you're talking about. Creme de cassis or cassis or something. I don't know. It's French. Okay, so you're gonna need half of a shot of creme de cassis.
I'm an influencer.
I hear it's made from black currant. Uh-huh.
That's what those people says.
It's made from black currant. All right, then you're gonna need some bitters because Catwoman can also be a little bitter, especially when I stand her up on a crime spree. I put that in there.
Whenever I already finished the job and you're running behind.
All right, I'm gonna have to cut. It calls for a lemon, but I only have limes. So pull this out of my utility belts. Cut this lime up and squeeze half of a lime in your shaker as well.
Half of a lime?
Half
Yes.
of a lemon.
Or lemon.
This is a
Doesn't
lot of
matter.
work.
They're citrus. Okay, put it in your shaker and do the bat dance.
Or if you're a lady, just stir.
Says to shake vigorously. Okay. All right. Get off of there. Okay, good. Then you get your strainer and you strain it into some fancy glass with skinny handles on it.
Oh.
I don't have that.
Rodney has it because he's a lady.
He's a lady.
Oh no.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. He's a lady.
We opened up the Batcave, people.
Okay, that looks really good, and I would like one, please.
It's like the best one I've ever made. It's amazing.
What does it taste like?
It tastes like delicious.
Like delicious darkness. It tastes like, okay, you know, like dark chocolate covered cherries.
Ooh,
Except for the chocolate is replaced with the darkness from Gotham City.
Exactly. See, that's why I had Catwoman come on. All right, get on with the show. I'm done with this.
Wait, this is actually great. Thanks, Batman.
I want one. That sounds really good.
Well, now I have all the ingredients, so you're gonna have to come visit me, and I'll make you one.
Well, okay.
Hey, I have them all the ingredients too.
Oh, Rodney, you missed it.
Oh, but somebody left this drink,
Oh shit.
and I spilled a little bit on my computer.
I'll be back. Hold on. No,
I'm late. Sorry.
Okay, so while Rodney's gone, I'm here to talk to you all about the fact that Marvel is way better than DC, and I will die on that hill. And oh, Rodney, you're back.
Yeah, I spilled some on my drink. I had to get a towel.
Oh,
good.
that's for Pickett. That's just Pickett's drink.
Oh, he'll be here. Don't you worry.
Okay.
So I guess DC stands for drink challenged.
Ooh, is that fancy?
Funny.
Diva burn.
Okay, normally around this time is when we do the Roger Pine breakdown. Roger Pine, I've given him kind of a vacation because we've had some like stunt casting for the past 2 weeks. And this time we're actually switching it out for another segment. You can play the Roger Pine like intro, but this is called not Roger Pine breakdown. This is called When Kate Cries.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Okay. Wait. Wow. Okay. I should have been more prepared for this. So I have been campaigning on TTC DivaDads to have my own segment every week in which I talk about theater moments that made me cry because it happens a lot. So that's the preface that I'll give this. But Adrienne, do you have any structure for me?
No, but I think we could start simple. So, you know, we all cry at musicals. They're beautiful and happy, and you see emotion, like, you know, being performed on stage, as opposed to, side note, I've been binging Once Upon a Time for just like mental health reasons in the past couple of weeks. They did a musical episode, and it might be one of the worst things I've ever seen. So in that case, like, singing bad. Singing on stage in musicals, mostly good. Yes, Rodney?
On a kind of a good note, there is a theatrical version of Newsies on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
That's worth
That's
checking
good.
out. It's good. Like the sets are amazing. Anyway, sets are amazing. Dancing,
That's a
all that
set.
stuff.
That's a set we could totally do with all of our scaffolding, but also Kate and I saw that production together in Houston.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Also, I was going to say about Once Upon a Time, I ran in at the airport. I ran into the woman that played the queen, and she was in line for the bathroom. And because, you know, I work at the airport, I thought she was a coworker of mine. So I kind of stared at her as I was walking towards her, and she gave this like assured nod to me, like, and that's when I realized, like, oh no, you're a famous, and like I'm staring at you in the bathroom, and this is really creepy. So now it's like hard for me to watch that show because, anyways.
Friends. All right. So sometimes you cry at like intermission. Sometimes you cry at like a big power ballad. Sometimes you cry at the end. What's the fastest you've ever cried in a musical?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So first musical I ever saw, Lion King, when the giraffe walked out. That's when we started. There have been a couple recently, as in like within the last year-ish, in which like during intermission, I had to like, oh, my mom's here. Hi, Mom. When she took me to see Dear Evan Hansen, she didn't know anything about the show, and we went to see it. And I was crying so hard during intermission. When she tried to talk to me, I had to ask her to give me 5 minutes so that I could just weep.
Thank you, 5.
On your own. Okay, perfect. So Kate Cries, newest segment. I think this is a great start. We're off on a beautiful journey. Also, your sister wants to know if Casey is behind the camera providing the windblown moment you are serving us.
No, I am actually in Lindsay Lewis's room. She wanted to make sure that I shouted her out, but I actually took a picture of my precarious setup. So like you guys are on a ladder, and there is a ring light on me, which is like really fun, really official. And there's also a fan on me because there's no AC in this room. So.
Oh, perfect. Brilliant. I knew Lindsay would be involved at some point.
Yeah.
Perfect. So now we are officially introducing our special guest, Miss All Over the Place herself, Kate Mitchell.
Hello, Kate
Hi.
Mitchell.
Welcome.
So Kate and I met way back. When was Hairspray? What, like 12 years ago? 15 years ago? 10 years
It was
ago?
10 years ago.
Oh, wow. So Kate auditioned for Brazos Valley Players' production of Hairspray and was in it along with a lot of the people that you know and love, like Adrienne Rowell, like, oh my gosh, everybody.
Chris Rogers, last week's
Chris
guest.
Rogers, yeah, your last week's guest. Hello. Monty, Andrew Robler, so many amazing shows. Catherine Pope, Nanette's daughter was in it. It was this amazing group of people. Kelsey, duh.
Yeah.
And that's how we met. And you were still in high school, or that was like your senior year?
I think I had just graduated high school. It was maybe the year before my senior. It was one of those years.
Yeah.
What's time?
What is time? I don't know. And I guess we've like kind of kept in touch since then.
Yeah, I don't really have. I have the worst memory, so it's going to be really fun asking me questions tonight. But I feel like we kind of like had a distant friendship, and then slowly over time we got closer. But it really, I feel like the catalyst that I remember being like, oh wait, she and I are like close, was when I followed you to Orlando along with Casey Gilbert and Mary Otto to have our Girls Gone Orlando trip. And that was really the first time, because you had a conference there. So we just kind of followed you and did like a cute little Disney trip, and that solidified. And now we're inked for life.
We are. Sorry, Mom. I'm sure we're going to go on lots of detours this evening, so we will go ahead and get started. Mike, I believe you have the first question.
All righty. Hey, Kate. All right. So Shiloh Barty wants to know, first of all, what was your favorite role ever and why?
Okay, first of all, I love Shiloh. I don't know if I've ever told her that, because I don't know if we're like close enough to where I could like just brutally compliment her like that, to like where I feel like I would make her uncomfortable with how much I adore and love her and her entire family, but she's just such a light. My favorite role at the theater probably was when I played Margot in Legally Blonde, when I got to let my sorority girl life shine. And a big part of that really was because the cast was so amazing. Some of my best friends to this day were in that show. Actually, I was a part of a trio with Adrienne and Casey Gilbert. So we all three got to be together the whole time, which was super fun. And there's just a lot of dancing, and Andrew Carson was in that. Lindsay Lewis was in that. So I don't know, it was the best show probably.
Nice.
And you've never actually been in a sorority. That was just like your inner self coming out.
No, but I guess I'm going to bring up my mom a lot tonight, because I found out after I graduated college that she was the president of her chapter of Alpha Chi Omega. I could have gotten in and taken over.
I feel like if your life had gone that route, I don't know that you would be here this evening.
Maybe not, but I also could be like really like powerful. You know what I mean? You are. Also, I don't know if you read the article of the battalion that got shared, but like the sororities are not getting the best publicity right now. I actually have like an insider's point of view on that. I won't go into details, but people that I know are already having to go home from college in quarantine. So,
yay!
Silly.
For babies. I just got out of my third quarantine because we had a COVID scare at our house. A roommate traveled back from her hometown. And so we had to all kind of hunker down while she was waiting for her COVID test to come back. But thankfully it was negative.
COVID free. Side note, Mary Otto is also watching along with Casey Gilbert. So we have all Girls Gone being represented.
I'm honored.
All right, so Shiloh Barty has another question. She says, since you were a flight attendant, what has been your favorite place that you have gotten to explore?
Okay, my favorite place I've gotten to explore for sure, hands down, New Zealand. Like, so hard. Shout out to my sister Rachel, who's watching, who lives there right now with her boyfriend Skylar. Love them, miss them so much, but also jealous that they get to walk around without masks on right now. New Zealand, like every place you've ever been to, if you haven't been to New Zealand, times the prettiest sight you saw while you were there, times 10. Like, it's just stunning. And I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so it was also like getting to live that dream.
So,
My brother's been. I've never been.
so Kate,
We got
so you said your sister Rachel. Now, did she used to live in Dallas?
yes.
Okay.
So Rachel bopped around quite a bit, but she's really liking New Zealand, and I'm really happy for her. But I miss her a lot. But I think New Zealand's gonna stick for a while.
So I'm gonna break the streak, guys. I'm sorry, but Paul Early, broke the streak. So
There was like
Paul-
3
Paul-
shows with no Paul Early mentioned.
No,
People aren't allowed to talk about Paul Early.
Well, no,
He doesn't
just in
even
the first
watch.
like 10 shows, his name came up, and I was like, can we just not talk about Paul Early in one show? And we went on a streak of 3, so whatever.
Is it because you aren't friends with him, Dana?
No,
Is
I
that
love
why?
Paul. He's awesome.
The only reason we hadn't talked about him in 3 shows is because Mike couldn't remember his name. So
Oh,
Diva
true.
Bird.
Oh yes, that's a burn.
Well,
All right.
so we were getting ready to go on the bike
Diva
trip to California, and Paul was like, "Yeah, Steve Tinkle's going, you're going, I'm going, and Rachel's going." I'm like, "Oh, Rachel, okay, Rachel, who?" She's like, "Yeah, you know Kate Mitchell." I'm like, "Well, I don't know her. Like, I met her at a few like Rocky Horror when you come back to watch us or something like that. I've met you in line and things like that." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, she's Kate's sister." So anyway, I was like, "So are we going up to like Dallas to pick her up and then going to California?" He's like, "I don't know. I'll get back to you." And then like never got back to me. So, that's Paul.
Oh, and she didn't go with you guys, right?
No, she didn't. No.
So that was a good story.
Great story, Mike.
that was a good story.
I mean, come on now.
I mean, I'm glad you're bringing in siblings. but-
Contributing.
I'm
Don't complain.
grateful that he's remembering people.
Good on you.
Mike,
So
5 cast members from Legally Blonde. Go.
Not me, not Adrian.
I'm totally kidding. That would be
Allison.
Allie was in it. I'm
Yep.
just messing with though. You don't have to do that.
Justin Dollar.
Ooh, you did it, yeah.
he wrote down lists just in case.
For every single show that's ever existed. He's been just scrolling through Alan's photos for days.
So
Everything's 10
TTCDivaDads.
years ago.
I know,
Everything
10
was
years ago. So we're talking a lot about some folks here in Texas that you know, and we know that you miss all the Texas folk. But other than those people, Michelle Campbell Green would like to know that one thing you miss the absolute most about Texas besides the people.
This is so easy. Adrian, do you know? Okay. No. I had queso yesterday. Girl, you want to know how much I have queso? I have reservations for Sunday with brunch or for brunch, and I have a free queso coupon in my phone.
Is it
Queso is
HEB?
my favorite. It is HEB.
There you go.
I talk about HEB like it is like the most famous water park in the world that everybody has to go. Like I have fully brought people into Texas for the first time and been like, but wait, let me show you the grocery store. I also brought back like 40 tortillas on the flight when I came back from Texas a few months ago or a month ago. What's time?
I don't know. I was just there today and I ran into Luis.
Oh, wait, Luis Reyes?
No, Luis Codes. Different
Oh.
Luis.
Okay. The other Luis, I found him on Twitter. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But yes, I love Luis.
That sounds ominous and scandalous. Okay. People from Texas, the lovely Christina Freeman.
Oh,
She mentioned that, and I know this, this is probably something else that means literally nothing to the dads, but you have a very good Miranda Sings impression that she hasn't gotten to hear in quite a while. Any chance you would be willing to do just a little bit? Just a little bit.
here's the thing. I really haven't done this in a very long time, but I will tell a story about it before I do it. Does everybody know who Miranda Sings is here?
Yes, they don't. They have no idea.
Oh, you sweet middle-aged men. Okay, so I'm just kidding. I'm just
No, you're
kidding. Okay. Are you putting Diva Bird on that? 'Cause
I am
deserve-
actually like literally right now.
Diva
That was
Bird.
This is the bad thing about interviewing somebody that knows so much about the show is I'm like dictating how it should be run.
Put my voice
Okay.
on with the diva burn, Dana.
You what?
She froze. I broke her. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Diva Burn. Okay.
Here I am. So one, Christina Freeman is a light, and she's so talented, and I love when she dresses up as Elsa. Two, I did a Miranda Sings impression, which a musical theater student performer created this persona where she acted like she could do no wrong and she was super talented, but would on purpose be bad, miss notes, do terrible things, and have this whole personality around it. And she still does it to this day, but I actually impersonated her. So sang Think of Me from Phantom of the Opera poorly on purpose at a Century Singers variety show in which everyone was singing like Jar of Hearts and like, I don't know, any other like pop song that was popular that year. So everybody was serious, and it didn't say that my song was going to be a parody. It just said, Think of Me, Kate Mitchell. So everybody probably thought I was going to come out because I wanted to like show off soprano chops. But instead it was more like, think on me fondly when I say goodbye. And that's all I'm doing now.
Bravo.
Oh my God, that was fantastic.
Kelsey also does this really well, and Carrie does it, and then also your sister Rachel does a really good impression.
Yeah, you guys need to get with the times. I'll send you some links.
I'm actually, I think it was an age thing. I found her to be so annoying.
No,
And-
I kind of stopped enjoying her for a while, but I got in really early. But yes, you are right. It is very much an age thing.
Yeah. Diva Burn. That was also, yeah, you get really early in on things because like Mike Kilgore, you are a social media influencer.
Oh, don't
100%.
get why? Just
100%. Well, and Kate, I know you call this like middle age, but if you do want to show us some more of the stuff, just DM us. That's a social media term, right?
oh my.
Yeah, but it's not connotated in probably the way that you want it to be intended in front of a live audience.
Yeah, that's not Mike, that's not an appropriate thing to say anymore.
When you say like slide into my DMs, you mean like message me because I want to get to know ya.
Like, oh,
That's the cleanest way.
I was thinking you would like send it to us on Facebook or something.
Well, yes, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. But the way that you have to understand with slang, there's connotation that matters a lot. Do you know about Urban Dictionary?
No.
Okay, we'll start at square one. Do you know what Google is?
I know what Google is. Yes.
Much
So
to
Urban
learn, you still
Dictionary
have.
basically, if you don't understand like an acronym or like a slang term, just look it up on Urban Dictionary and it'll explain the slang that's like
Got it.
popular.
Mike, please, I hope you're not saying anything about sliding into anyone's DMs to anyone but your wife.
Got it.
Okay, good.
No problem.
Now he knows.
And now it's your turn, Mike.
Teachable moment. Okay. All right. Catherine Thomas wants to know, what's the best thing about traveling all over the world and what's the worst?
Catherine is wonderful. The best thing is getting to see the world and taste all of the food and see all of the sights, meet all of the people, drink all of the drinks, like truly just experiencing another place. The worst thing is jet lag. It's the physical toll that it takes on you because you never get over jet lag. Your body can't get used to it. Also, your body is like, I feel like, okay, you know, at the end of the SpongeBob movie, do we all see that? You had time. David Hasselhoff was in it.
Age
Okay.
thing.
So at the end of the SpongeBob movie, spoiler alert, everybody mute if you don't want it spoiled. He's about to die and he's turned like, you know, he's a sponge. He's underneath this drying lamp and he's like super dry and almost dies. What was I talking about?
Jet lag.
Pineapples.
Jet lag.
Yes, that's what happens to you when you're on a plane. Basically, just, you can drink as much water, you can like try to move around, do some squats, but your body's just depleted. I should have taken my ADHD medicine before this, huh?
Nope.
Wow.
I like it this
Keep it on rotate.
Your turn, Dana.
So your good friend and our friend of the show, Cameron Moser, wants to know, what is your most and least favorite city you've traveled to?
My favorite city I've traveled to is New York City. And my least favorite city I've traveled to, I feel like there's things that I like about all of the places that I've been. But like Frankfurt was kind of boring. But it's mostly because I didn't like, usually if you want to, so Frankfurt's more of like a city where like a lot of business takes place. That's why people would fly to and from there more likely. So there isn't a whole lot to do if you're just wanting to like wander around the town other than like get food. And there's like a cute little square that's famous, but there wasn't a whole lot to do there. So I just went shopping.
They have a nice beer garden there.
I would hope.
Yeah, but I mean, they have beer gardens all over Germany. Like I would rather go to any other city in Germany, probably. My favorite's a toss up between like Berlin and Hamburg. And I just became aware of how like pretentious I sounded by saying that. But I'm going to say Hamburg's probably my favorite.
Okay, well then this is a very fitting question to follow up that response. Casey Gilbert wants to know, who are you?
I'm a dancer.
A dancer dances.
I took a quiz one time on BuzzFeed, and the quiz was called, "Are you a human or are you a dancer?" And I was 100% a dancer. So that is my identification now.
I so want to
that.
give you a diva point for that. I don't know why, but that just sounded very...
We did.
That's fine. I'm looking to win on diva points. I put on lipstick for this, y'all. I have not put on lipstick this whole time because we're wearing masks all the time. And it's going to get all over the mask.
It's a hard habit to break. I have several masks that are literally stained with lipstick because it's a habit that I can't break. On most days, it's like the only makeup I would ever wear anyways, and it's been taken from me. This is terrible. Oh gosh.
Yeah, and that's been in the, there's been lots of comments about how lovely our ladies are tonight. But lipstick has definitely made the chat on several occasions. So
we coordinated it. Shout out to AFC. Shout out to Adrian recommending this lipstick to me over a year ago. That's all the shot.
My dad apparently tuned in just in time to hear you talking about beer gardens. So
I'm so happy that he's here. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Dobson. Wait. Before we stop talking about him, Mr. and Mrs. Dobson, the first time I went to their house, found out that I had never seen Best in Show and demanded that we watched it. And I am forever grateful for them showing me that movie because it was so funny. We had such a good time.
Anytime anyone came to my house or just anytime we would go home for holidays, I guess I was there this past weekend, and this is the exception to the rule. Either Best in Show, Mighty Wind, or Death to Smoochie would be on the television. I haven't
seen either of those two.
Oh, well, that's a problem. But it was either those movies or the Mumford & Sons concert at Red Rocks. Like, you could count on any of those things all the time being on our TV at home.
I'm gonna come over.
Shut up!
I want to see the Mumford & Sons.
Oh, bye, Mike.
And for those of you new to the show, this is not uncommon for Mike just not to
uncommon. Be here. But my dad is taking issue with Rod and Raylyn because, Kate, he's telling you that you were very deprived for not having seen those films.
Called out.
Ooh, okay.
I don't even know if my mom and dad have seen.
Oh, that's a shame. Explains so much. Okay. Casey has another question because Mike isn't here anymore. She would like to know, what is your favorite onstage memory and what is your favorite backstage memory? And we can assume that she's not just asking for any memories. She wants them to be about Casey.
No leading the witness.
Okay, I'm going to rephrase the question. What is your favorite onstage memory that has to do with Casey?
My favorite onstage memory that has to do with Casey. Onstage is hard. The first thing that I thought of was whenever she came back. So she was living in Houston and commuting when we did Spamalot. And there were like 6 big dance numbers in that show. And me and my sister Rachel were very much not dancers. We're movers. I know that like I'm like a dancer on the inside. What?
I said that's not what BuzzFeed said.
This is true. But everybody else like danced like in studios and like all year long and like for money, like professionally. And me and Rachel were just in the back like, oh my gosh, what have we gotten ourselves into? But I remember Casey having to miss a few rehearsals and me trying to teach her the choreography on a dance that was really hard for me, and just like kind of like explaining it to her, but being like, I can't do this, but like it's supposed to be like this, and like just having to like talk her through it, and her just being so nice about it, because that's really the show that I feel like we got close in. She was so polite about it, but I was a terrible teacher.
By the way, Casey in all caps said that is not what I asked.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Favorite onstage moment is every time I'm on stage with Casey. Does that suffice?
Yes. Okay, backstage memory.
Backstage? Ugh. Oh, okay. No. So this is the one that she wants me to say. So before we were really close, I think that I had forgotten to set one of my costumes backstage. And in Spamalot, one of our costumes was this big, long, like leotard white dress with like a huge skirt. To where when you spun around, it was like really fun and frilly. Anyways, I asked her because I forgot my costume. I had taken off my previous costume and I was wearing like my bra, my like Thanks, my tights. Like I was covered, but we were like all nude coverings. And I looked at her and I was like, hey, can you cover me up with your skirt so that I can go get my costume? And she sure did, because we didn't know each other that well. And I asked her that favor and she delivered. And that's why we are still friends today.
What? Okay, but what prop did you guys also have to use while wearing that costume?
Oh, those like things that went down like this?
No, the live flame that was in your hands.
Okay, so Randy likes to make us carry torches on stage when we've sprayed like half a bottle of hairspray in our hair, like flammable hairspray. And glitter. I mean, I cried for weeks trying to get it off. Like that bathroom, when I moved out of that apartment, there was still glitter in every crevice, which honestly might have made it better. But anyways, we had to carry these torches, and the way that we entered was from the balcony at the back of the stage, and we had to walk down like looking straight ahead, so not at the flame, not at the stairs, but walk straight down onto the stage. And in my actual first show at the theater in Rocky Horror Show, I fell down a flight of stairs during the last dress rehearsal. And so I was terrified the whole time. Actually, if Chris Rogers is watching, he'll remember too, when I did proof for him in high school, he made a comment because he totally noticed that I like clipped a stair and almost fell during that too. So me and stairs don't really get along.
But that was also a Randy. He didn't want you to ever look at the stairs as you were walking. No, so it's like a thing that actually still stresses me out. Anytime I go downstairs, I feel this need to keep my chin up, because if you were upstairs, it didn't matter what you were wearing, but you'd better not be looking at them. Which during the Addams Family, like I nearly broke my neck. I did almost break my neck in Kiss Me Kate with those stairs.
Another iconic stair moment on the stage was Tyler Lewis when he was Frankenfurter, and he came down with the wings and straight down the stairs. I mean, he glided. And the whole time I'm just looking at his feet like, how is he doing this? Because he didn't look down either.
Okay, but here's what you missed. His iconic boots, those like really amazing platform lace-up boots that I think Dana had to like lace him into in Rocky 4. So in Rocky 3, the night that those came in, we were at a rehearsal and he got them put on. And he was like, okay, let me test this out. And it was post anything goes. So that was the Chaz set. So it was like 2 staircases on anything goes that was either side of the boat. And then for Rocky, they got put together for this really cool like center stage grand staircase. And Tyler was like, okay, I'm going to check this out. And he goes up the stairs a few times, down the stairs a few times. Bye, Mike. Linda, he's fine. He's just, while they're moving, he's staying with the in-laws and like things are crazy. But he's fine, I promise. So walking up and down the stairs was fine, but he was like, okay, now let me try. Or maybe I told him, maybe this is my fault. I was like, okay, but now you got to try strutting down and like walking with confidence. So he starts like tire stomping his way down. The back of his heel clipped the like front of the step and literally took like a 2-inch hole out of the stairs. And he went shoom and like landed right on his tushy. And everything was fine, but he was like, okay, good to know. Good note. And then he never did that again.
Do it in rehearsal, never again.
Yeah, he was he blew me away with what he was able to do on stairs and heels in like anything that we put him in.
My jaw was on the floor like that whole show.
It's incredible.
All right, so from another one of our Diva Dads podcast alums, the poet Andrew wants to know, where does Miss All Over the Place see herself in 5 years? She says, and then he says, by the way, I love you so much, Kate.
Okay, Andrew Carson is one of my favorite people on this planet. He's so talented, and you are so lucky that you got to interview him because he's gonna be famous, and he's gonna be y'all's claim to fame one day. Is that he's gonna be so huge and so incredible. I love him so much.
Agreed.
Very talented.
5 years, I have no idea. I know you guys didn't know me back while I was in college, but I'm a very big planner. I'm very type A. And so I kind of planned out my whole life. And about like 6 months before I graduated college, I like looked up being a flight attendant and became one, and it changed my life forever. And now I live in New York and do all these other things with myself. And I realized kind of through that time, because so many doors open for me, that planning ahead for 5 years isn't really my style personally. Of course, I always like am thinking about what's next for me, what I want to do, but I don't think that many steps ahead. I just want to like be happy and do good and have a lot of time to enjoy life and enjoy the people that I have in it, because I have really, really awesome people in my life. And I don't know, like always be creating something and advocating for what I believe in. So that's kind of where I stand in life. I mean, I don't think a whole lot of New Yorkers are like, I have this huge life plan. I'm going to buy a house next year. So maybe I'm just like flying by the edge of my seat here, but whatever.
Did Mike come back, or did he just like, did he just stay gone?
I'm getting some back channel stuff. It keeps clicking on and off, loading, sudden link, business internet. He's a little angry right now. He's probably on hold with customer service right now. So he's not very happy.
Yeah, I'm sorry I got to call you guys, but my internet's just not working right now. And I know you guys are busy, and I don't want to bother you.
Nobody cares.
But, gosh.
Nobody cares.
You go burn.
All right, so I've got a couple of questions from Parker Greer. Parker wants to know, what is your favorite musical or song?
It's really hard. I always used to say my favorite musical was Legally Blonde, but it's just because it's just so happy and cheery, but it also just has such a good heart to it. And whenever you said, what is your favorite song? This definitely isn't my favorite song of all time. Oh my gosh, Mike, you're back! Welcome!
Sorry, Parker, I owe you $5 in your college fund.
You say it first.
And I have the TikTok to prove it. You'll have to watch after.
Okay, what was I talking about?
Your favorite musical or song?
Oh, the first song that I thought of definitely isn't like my only favorite, but it's just a song that I believe so much in, and performing it at the theater company specifically was really I wouldn't say life-changing, but it was very like I will never forget the way I felt when I performed Freak Flag from Shrek. Just because that show, I didn't think that I was going to fall in love with as much as I did. But it's just such a story of, you know, we all have watched the movie. We all loved the movie. But that show is just so much about, like, what makes you different is what makes you special. And, like, that's what you should lean into, and, like, what your special power is in life. Like, you shouldn't all try to be the same. And I just remember little Tyler Olsey singing through that song with us, belting, like, I could never. And they like put these beautiful like rainbow lights behind us, and you know, we were with all these different people that like looked totally different from different backgrounds and different ages, just like stomping it out and belting our hearts out, like saying like, whatever you bring to the table is what makes you special. And so that's probably like what I would think of first when somebody asks me what my favorite musical theater song is.
What makes us special? Did y'all go see Shrek?
Did we get what?
Did y'all go see Shrek when Benjamin Michael Hall was in it?
No,
It was so good. It's a
No, I
great
didn't get to
film.
What a special creature. Can we also talk about Benjamin Michael Hall?
Yes, we can spare some time for Ben.
Such radiance, such positivity. What a sweet angel, truly.
He texted me last night or maybe 2 nights ago, and he says, hey, are you busy? And I was like trying to plant cactus in my backyard, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore, so whatever. And we spent like 20 minutes on Zoom while he tested out the different settings on his mic so that he could get ready for his college auditions.
Oh my gosh.
So cute. He's so
About
cute.
him. You know, there's just people like you, kind of what you were saying, Dana, during Andrew's interview about how there's just this presence about him, which I totally agree with about Andrew. I feel like Benjamin also has that special quality, and I think he's going to do really good things in this life.
Agreed.
Yeah, and he does a really great Moira from Schitt's Creek. So
Wait,
That's my favorite show.
yeah.
save that transition for later.
Oh, sorry. All right. Parker also wants to see if you can demonstrate the airplane exit thingy.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Like if I was briefing somebody on an exit row.
I assume that's what he means.
I think he's really looking for like this sort of thing.
The exits are here, anywhere. Sorry, that's Aladdin.
Okay. I'm
That was
going to
terrible.
take some freedom here because I think that I'm allowed. And you are all going to be my exit row passengers. And I'm just going to say right now, I'm probably going to mess this up because I haven't done it since March. Hence the purple hair. But usually I walk up. So it's like in the middle of boarding. And when the whole exit row's there, I like walk up like this. This is how I walk apparently.
With the
And I
face.
lay my hands on both sides of the aisle. And I go, excuse me, everyone. Are we all aware that we're in an exit row? And everybody like takes their headphones out, like starts paying attention to me. And I go, I'm going to need a verbal yes from each and every one of you that you're willing and able to assist me in the event of an emergency. And then I point to each person, and we have to have them verbally say yes. Because if they don't verbally say yes, we don't have anything that like we can uphold in court apparently, because that's what this is all about. So we have to get a verbal yes. And there's been a couple times that people, their first language wasn't English. And so we wouldn't be able to communicate effectively during an emergency situation. So we've moved them to a better seat, done something, hooked them up. But we have to get this verbal yes. And you will not believe how many times you get these old Karens going. And I go, I'm sorry, I'm going to need a verbal yes. And I say it with that voice too. But yes, this is how we point out exits. One thing that you do have to know about when we do the safety demo is we can't use like finger guns like everybody thinks, because in certain cultures, different arrow pointing could mean something negative. And so we don't want to offend anybody's culture. So we use our whole hand.
Nice.
So I actually, okay, that reminds me of a Black Lady sketch show when she's trying to get a verbal yes from the person.
And he's like, yeah. One of my best friends, her name's Taylor, one of my favorite flight attendants ever, showed me that. We had gone out on a layover. Oh my gosh, we were in some like boring town in Montana, but I don't think it was Bozeman. I don't know. We were in Montana. It was so boring. And we went to this like random bowling alley. And when we got back, she was like, I have to show you this. And she showed me all of the Black Lady sketch show videos. And that one, I just lost it because it's so real. Like you can't, it's so simple to say yes or yeah or uh-huh. Like anything verbal works. Anything. Like that's all I'm asking. Like, don't make my life any harder. Anyways, I did work.
All right, so I know it feels like I'm taking over the interview, which I really don't have a problem with.
I honestly hope that you would because like you're my favorite diva dad. So.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that somebody finally noticed. All right, thanks for the point. All right, cruise ship. No, I'm trying to get us caught up on some of our questions that are coming on the YouTube chat, and this one comes from Cruise Ship Nolan. He wants to know, how much did the creme de cassis cost you for your beverage tonight?
Well, the creme de cassis, I'm an influencer, was $25.99 tonight. But I had a really, is that expensive?
That's like twice. That's like almost 3 times.
I don't know.
For it.
I could never be on Supermarket Sweep. I could never do the prices right, ever. But yeah, so I paid about $25 for this. I paid $10 for this, which is bitters. And I paid maybe $15 for the vermouth.
Wow.
Like New York prices, baby.
Hold on. I have to interrupt before Mike's question. We have an official request from Miss Rona Lisa Peretti. Mitchell, please spell cow.
You know, Michelle, I was about to compliment you. I was about to say how much of a light you are, how grateful I am that you are an educator of the next generation because you speak so much truth to them, because you met me when I was also impressionable and you taught me a lot of things about how to live my life, but you just insulted me. It is C-O-W. She's evolved. She's no longer a Charmander. She's a Charizard. Backstory for anybody that doesn't know, when we did 25th annual Putnam Spelling Bee, I was one of the guest spellers. So in that show, it's about a spelling bee with a bunch of kids. Adrienne played one of my favorite roles she's ever played as Olive. She was precious, and has a cat now named Olive to prove it. Like, she was just the cutest, most adorable. And I was at a rehearsal one day and they brought me up on stage to be one of the guest spellers. Also, Raylan Mitchell, my mother, was one of the guest spellers as well. But they brought me up on stage and they gave me the word cow, which I'm supposed to spell correctly in order for the show to continue flowing the way it's supposed to. But I spelled it C-O-U because I felt pressured. And I was uncomfortable, and enter other excuses here.
My dad, who was also a guest speller in Spelling Bee, said, lucky guess?
Yeah, I mean, look, I bring a lot to the table.
Just not
but
spelling.
It's not always the smarts. But I'm pretty.
Okay, Kristen.
Yes, I'm quoting a housewife. That was for Adrienne.
Also,
I'm not
actually saw this, but it's turtle time. I'm drinking Pinot Grigio for you tonight.
I cannot believe.
Turtle time.
I tried to order you Ramona's Pinot Grigio,
and bust,
but I couldn't find it. I can't find any of the housewives. All they do in that show is try to promote their products, and besides Bethany's Skinny Girl products, none of them exist, except for Luann's terrible music.
You can now get Ageless by Ramona, her skin serum.
Oh.
Yeah, don't do that, though. All right, Mike. Sorry.
Oh. All right. I am pretty sure this is the next question. Kelsey Coleman wants to know, what are your favorite and least favorite things about living in the city that you wouldn't expect?
Does she mean New York?
Yes, New York City.
Okay, my favorite and least favorite things. Okay, first of all, Kelsey Coleman, what a light. She is in the group text with me. She's hilarious. She's so freaking talented, and I'm just so grateful to have her in my life. But my favorite and least favorite things about New York. Okay, today, this is actually like both in one. So I went to do yoga in the park with my friend Laura, and it was very adorable. I got like 8 mosquito bites, which was not so adorable, but there was like, we were laying on our backs and doing the best part of the practice where you just lay on your back and like kind of halfway fall asleep. And I was staring up at the sky and just thinking to myself, like, gosh, like I'm just so grateful to exist here. Like, I feel like I live in the center of the universe. It's amazing. And then we go into another position where we're pretty much in like a plank. So I'm looking down at the ground kind of behind me, and I see like a rat scurry like 10 feet behind me. And here's the best part is I didn't even like blink. I didn't even think to myself like, oh, that's a problem. Like I was like, oh, there he is. There's Gus Gus.
Oh my God.
The city is like a weird beast. I think one of the best things about the city is you can be anonymous, but one of the worst things is also that you can be anonymous. Like no matter who you are, when you come here, you're a little fish in a big pond. And not that I'm pursuing things necessarily that make me need to like rise to the top of that pond, but like there was a lot of lonely years. And I remember like calling family members and calling people and saying like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, you know, New York doesn't give a whole lot of chances. Like you really have to kind of buck up and handle it on your own. But I wouldn't say I was up for the challenge because it was really hard, but I'm so grateful that I came on the other side of it because it's been probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. And I continue to choose to live here every single day because of those things. And it's just such a weird place. Oh my gosh, wait. Am I talking too much?
No.
You can tell me. Okay. So last night, little sweet Keith Owen, who has been one of my close friends since high school, was hanging out in New York on his birthday. And I said, oh my gosh, you need to come hang out with us at this Tex-Mex restaurant that I love in New York. And it's actually the one that I'm getting free queso from on Sunday. But we wanted to celebrate his birthday with him because he didn't have any plans. There was a chance he would get a work trip, so we kind of waited it out. But he came and joined us. And at the end of the night, the waitress brought us like a round of shots. And when she dropped the check, she looked at him and she said, all of your drinks are free tonight, which was just so unexpected and so sweet. Also, I brought a unicorn horn, like party hat for Keith to wear, which he immediately put on because it's his birthday and he shines like a unicorn, of course. And there were so many people that walked by us that just like said things to him, like children just like, look, mom, look, he's a unicorn. Like, wow. He got a lot of attention for it. And then afterwards, I took him to my favorite cookie place. So what you would compare to like Tiff's Treats maybe in Texas. Huh?
Schmackeries?
Not Schmackeries. It's called Insomnia Cookies. I've taken you there whenever we went and got artichoke pizza down by Washington Square Park. And then we went across the street and got the s'mores cookies from Insomnia.
I may remember that.
Late at night. It's okay. I'll take you next time.
I remember the pizza.
Yeah, the pizza was real good. But I took him to this cookie place, and when we walked in, I made this joke to the people working there. I was like, oh yeah, like I'm getting this guy a cookie because this is going to be his birthday cake because I didn't nail getting him an actual cake with candles. And they gave us not only the cookies that we ordered, but extra. And they were like, don't put your card in the reader. And I was like, what do you mean? They were like, this one's on us. And I walk out with Keith and I go, this is what New York is about. Like, I have never in my life been treated so well by people that I barely know. If you just take the time to connect with them. Because I find that like a lot of New Yorkers, like none of us are at home. Like all of us are away. All of us are kind of trying to make it for ourselves. And I find that like whenever I go and I actually just make an effort to be kind to somebody or like connect with them or ask them how they're doing, like people are just so generous and so kind. And I mean, like I'm friends with people that were like my bartender one time when I went to dinner, like 2 years ago. And then we like friended each other on Facebook, and we still talk from time to time. Like everybody here, I feel like is looking for family and looking for connection, which is like a very human thing, but it's just a really special thing about New York. I don't remember what the question was.
Kelsey.
Perfect answer.
Oh, my first drink, like everyone.
Kelsey has another question about NYC, and that is, what is kind of your most life-changing performance that you've seen while being in New York?
That's so hard. I have a story to tell, and then I'm going to answer the question. So Adrian and I went and saw Pretty Woman. You remember this? Oh,
It's a really
weird New York thing. What?
Because you remember we were walking to get our seats? Is this the story you're telling?
No. You'll know soon.
Okay.
But sweet Hannah Lee, I don't know her new last name,
Hunter.
was there with her husband. Like, what a small town we live in. Anyways, so whenever me and Adrian went and saw that show, we have all seen the movie Pretty Woman, I'm assuming. There's a point where the guy is like, I'll give you everything you want. Like, here's a key to an apartment. Here's like an allowance. Here's all of these things, and I love you.
Here's a credit card. Here's all these things.
Here's all these things.
Yeah.
No joke. I grabbed Adrian's hand because what happens in the scene is she goes, no, I don't want that. I want you. Blah, blah, blah. Love stuff. Plot points. Moving forward. But before she says any of that, he's offering her all these things. I grab Adrian's hand and she looks up at me. Quite literally looks up because she's like a teeny human and I'm larger than life. And she looks up at me and I have tears in my eyes and I go, oh, that's all I want.
She's not kidding. And it's like this really sweet, sentimental moment in the show. And I'm pretty sure I guffawed. Guffawed. Because that show was not great. Samantha Barks, great.
Performers were great. Orphe was great.
Andy Carl.
Also, she commented, okay, so my friend Andy commented on, so Orphe, am I saying it right?
Yeah.
So she was the original Paulette in Legally Blonde. She was also in Pretty Woman. She's phenomenal. Like, has one of the most unique Broadway voices I've ever heard. One of the most powerful Broadway voices I've ever heard. And she played Paulette, like I mentioned. And you remember in the movie or the musical Legally Blonde, she falls in love with the UPS guy. She actually married the UPS guy in real life. So they have this adorable story. And I'm obsessed with her. And one of my friends commented on one of her Instagram photos and was like, look, it's our favorite people. And I commented back, oh my gosh, sweet angels. Just like, they're never going to see this comment. Or if I commented back, she said, thank you. We're so nice.
Hold on, I have to backtrack. Okay. You have been very lucky to see some like really incredible shows, like just together. Like you and I got to see Come From Away together. We saw Hadestown together. So speaking of life-changing musicals.
That's what I was going to answer as my life-changing musical. I'm not kidding you. Yesterday was listening to the soundtrack and like talking to Lindsay about it in the living room while I was like cooking and just like pausing it and going, oh my gosh, they just said this. Oh my gosh, they just sang this. Do you remember this part? Because like I was a broken human being after seeing that show. Like there's just like, I could get into it. I'm not going to get too into it, but like
we'll get into it,
there's just something.
How we got to see that show. So Mike, you got to see it. Yes. Okay, so the last time I went to New York, I was not going to be able to see Hadestown because it was like Tony winner best musical. It's so ridiculously expensive. I was like, I can't justify this. I could not. If for one ticket to Hadestown, I could see like 4 other shows. But I had like crazy insomnia that last time in New York, and
that was wild.
That was wild. I didn't sleep for like 3 days, but at like 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm scrolling StubHub and someone dropped a ticket, like a single ticket at the back of the orchestra for $100. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to see Hadestown. went to see Hadestown, was a broken human, but I saw it alone and had no one to talk to. Our friend Cameron Mosier had seen it like a month before, and he was like, hey, if you want to like have a glass of wine and decompress after the show, give me a call. So I did. And it was like,
for Cameron Mosier, you know what I mean?
no, not that night. Not thank goodness for Cameron Mosier, because we had dinner earlier with him and Lindsay when I went to go see the show, and I was expecting a good, like, let's have a glass of wine and talk about like life and death and like this tragedy. And the two of them were plastered, and Lindsay was flirting at a bar with the bartender because they just had never like stopped drinking after dinner. But then Sunday, my last full day in New York City, we're sitting at brunch. It's me and you and Casey and Jeff Barbet, and we're scrolling through tickets because we had sat in a rush line for Beetlejuice for 3 hours in like 30-degree weather with like wind whipping our face.
To give like a background for what rushing is, for anybody that might not know, around 10 a.m. every Broadway box office opens up, and if you stand in line, sometimes you have to get there an hour early, sometimes it's like 3 hours early, depending on the popularity of the show. They sell a certain number of rush tickets, so like $40, and you can get pretty good seats because they're trying to, you know, they would rather sell a seat rather than not get any money for it at all. So we had stood in the freezing cold to the point where like I walked into a CVS while Casey and Adrienne held the line and got us like hand warmers for us to put inside of our gloves because we were so cold and in so much pain. And I can't even imagine what Adrienne felt like, because I'm a big person and I take up a lot of space, but like that little bean, you poor thing.
We were cold, we were miserable, but we were so close to the front of the line. We were like, okay, but at least we're going to see Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Line finally opens. We get to go inside in the warmth. Literally 10 people go through the line. Sorry, we're all sold out of rush tickets. We stood in that line for 3 hours for nothing. We were exhausted, hungover. It was so, and so they were like, well, hey, we will have standing room only, but it's a different line and it starts in like an hour. And we were meeting Jeff for brunch, and he was like, you know what, stay in line, go see your show. And I was like, no, forget Beetlejuice. I'm not doing this. We're going to go to brunch and we're going to get warm, which honestly, I think it took us like the length of brunch to actually get warm. But while we're there, Casey's scrolling through StubHub and is looking for shows that we can affordably see. And she says, would you see Hadestown again? And I was like, I mean, yeah. Someone was selling 6 tickets, like 8 rows up, dead center in the orchestra, like pure magic, like sold those tickets. There were only 4 of us. So we called Lindsay, we called someone else, and we were like, get moving, get your butts ready and get down to Times Square in like 45 minutes because we're going to see Hadestown. And we saw it. And the 6 of us, like we couldn't even look at each other at the end of the show and speak because that's how.
There's just like going back into what I just in general was what I was intending to go into was just the reason that I like theater and the reason that it matters so much to me is because I don't think there's any other art form in which one human can show another human what it is to be a human more so than in theater. I think that there's like something really magical about the fact that like I can understand how somebody feels in a situation that I've never experienced. I think about like Spring Awakening. I think about like The Color Purple. I think about Newsies, like these time periods in which these problems that those characters face were very real and very true for certain people that I will never personally experience. I think that being able to share that human experience is something that's so important. And there was something so beautiful about Hadestown, even though a lot of it was written like a decade ago or something. But how much of that show was topical and poignant to what's going on right now in the world, and how every human emotion that we can't fully express was shown in front of us. And there was just so much there was so much simplicity in it, but every character was so uniquely and perfectly cast and directed. And I cannot speak highly enough of like the way that show was put together. And I am just so grateful that I got to share that moment with people that I care about so much, because it was one of those magic moments in theater that like I'll never get back. Very similar to when me and Adrienne went and saw Great Comet, which was also beautiful. We didn't even sit together at that one. I got a last minute ticket.
In fact, that's going to be a Dads After Dark story, because we need to talk about what happened at intermission for that show. All right, we gotta Mike.
Okay, sorry. I almost had a tear in my because I got to see Hadestown and never mind. Dad's After Dark. So okay, Mary Otto wants to know what is the difference between stalactites and stalagmites.
Mary Otto, what a sweet human, other than the fact that she thinks that the sign said "gone for food." Stalactites hang from the ceiling. Stalagmites come up from the ground. You're welcome.
Quite impressed.
I'm being succinct. I'm trying very hard.
Perfect. It's perfect. Dana.
So,
Dana.
Dana.
No.
You, Dana.
I miss having Madeline in Dad's After Darks, but
She's watching now.
but I don't miss the Dana button that she pulls out now and then. Mary Otto, since the time of COVID, how often have you left your house and gone for food?
Hateful. This has been a hard year for all of us, and we don't need to drag each other down, especially when the other people are right. Oh my gosh, I just remembered I had food in my teeth before this. I still have food in my teeth.
We can't see it.
Okay, I must stay back here.
Is she gonna talk?
I'm gonna talk like this. So early on, New York was a huge hotspot. I stayed here. The last time I worked was was March 31st, which is wild because I've worked every day of my life since I was like 16 years old. But I stayed in New York through almost all of COVID stuff, and things were really bad here. And it was interesting because me and my roommates kind of every day would wake up and be like, okay, like, what's happening? And just trying to like kind of process everything together. So I really didn't leave my house regularly for about 4 months, which is wild. But I remember on day 75, I finally got brave enough to rent a bike because here we have a really nice company called City Bike that you can rent bikes from and just like bike wherever. And I finally was brave enough to do it here in the city, and I biked down to see some friends in Central Park and like sit 6 feet away on like picnic blankets. But that's the longest I've gone without seeing friends. And now I pretty much am doing things almost every day, because if I didn't, I'd go crazy. But thankfully, like a lot of places here in New York have really accommodated for the virus. So all of the like parking lanes and like the bus lanes and stuff have like patio space from like the restaurants and stuff with like nice spaced out tables. And I've, we've been at this for a while, so I kind of have my little bubble of people that like I'm allowed to see that I know is also taking this very seriously and staying socially distanced so that we don't expose one another to anything dangerous. But I am able to go out and get food now, which is really nice. I went and got a smoothie today, and I got in trouble at the smoothie place because I was the 5th person that walked into the store, and they only allow 4. And he goes, "Only 4, ma'am." And I said, okay. They're very strict, but I honestly really appreciate that people are kind of like sticking to it here so we can keep those numbers down.
Honestly, we have the same rule with this Zoom, which is why we keep kicking Mike out.
Oh, that was a good one. Good job.
Every once in a while, Zoom just kicks out the person that said the least amount of words,
Well, if you notice, pretty much the only thing he does say is if it's written down. So.
Oh, he's contributing now, guys.
That's right.
I do think he's doing very excellently. I think that I'm just gonna say I think that like I have something to do with that, but assuming things, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest.
Okay, birthday unicorn Keith Owen would like to know if you could have dinner with anybody, either dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Well, I loved having dinner last night with Keith Owen. He's so special to me. I made fun of him a lot growing up, and he stuck through it, and he's still my friend, and I think he's
I love that.
If I could have dinner with anybody, right now I'm going to pick Michelle Obama.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Every time that woman talks, I cry. Like, it's bad. Like, I'm like, am I chopping onions? Like, every time she speaks, I tear up. I think that if you asked me for the best example of a strong, independent, like weathered, well-spoken woman with a good head on her shoulders, a good life behind her, a good family to back her up, I think she's phenomenal, and I would just love to like be like graced by her presence.
Same. Also, Mike is listening too, so.
Oh, Mike, I love you so much.
Okay, so Beth Aiken has a convoluted question that I don't quite understand, wanting to know about like your life story and like your motto and like how you get through life. But I feel like I can boil it down to an interaction that I think we had with Taylor Christensen, like some point within the last year. Kate Mitchell, do you ever doubt yourself?
Yeah.
No, that's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah, no, I really do.
You remember?
My parents raised me. No, let me answer this. My parents raised me to always doubt myself, to question what I'm doing. Because if you don't question what you're doing, if you don't like say like, hey, did I handle this situation correctly? If I, got in an argument with somebody, did I say something that was too harsh? Or if I made a life decision, like, could I have made another decision that might have led me on a better path? Like, should I have not drank last night? More like less serious as well. I think it's really important to doubt yourself. I think it's really important to question what you believe, where you stand. I actually got this really sweet tattoo about a second ago, because what's time? I got a compass because I believe that no matter where you go, you should always like look down at your compass, say like, who am I? Where did I come from? Which way is north? And what do I need to continue doing? I think it's really important to question yourself. But I will say, Beth Aiken is one of the most inspiring and hardworking people I've ever met in my entire life. Like, she will break her back for the people she loves and for the organizations that she loves and the people that she believes in. And I think she's really special. And one of the things that I actually am the most proud of is the fact that like when I first met her, she was like, Kate Mitchell, you're amazing. Cause she's a few years younger than me. So in high school, she came in and I kind of had been doing shows at the theater, and she had this like blown up vision of who I was as a person. And I remember being like, I don't deserve that. Like, I don't deserve for you to like elevate me in any sort of way. And I remember, I think it was my senior year, she made everybody bracelets. And this is actually something that I think about a lot. Like, and it's part of like my philosophy as a human being. And every person's bracelet had all these beads of a word that she described of them. And the one she put on mine was fearless. And I remember seeing that and being like, I'm not fearless. I'm scared I can't go see a scary movie. I don't like the dark. Like, there are so many things that I'm scared of in life. I've never lived outside of College Station. And I remember thinking like, I'm not these things, but if somebody believes that I am, like, I can start trying to emulate that, and eventually I can become that. And it was so motivating to me to have somebody look at me with these rose-colored lenses, because it made me start looking at myself differently and start trusting my own instincts and going, look, like, if this is a scary direction we're going to move, like, maybe it's the right one. Like, maybe those doors are going to open. And so Beth Aiken has always really inspired me by encouraging me and just being so kind. So, yeah.
So less than a year ago, you were in town, and it was me, you, and Taylor sitting around doing something, and she was asking for advice, talking about something, and she looks up and says, hey, did you ever doubt yourself? And you just turned to her and said, no.
Okay.
Do you not remember that?
Yes. Okay. So Publicly facing, I feel like I'm in a place right now with this podcast where I feel like I need to kind of bare my soul and be honest about things. But when we're out in the wild, you know, when the giraffe comes out on the safari in Lion King, we conceal those tears. We mind our own business. We show people that we're not doubting ourselves and we're confident. But in reality, we are analyzing what we're doing. And we are like paying attention to the fact that like our actions affect people around us that, you know, I mean, even something as small as like if I purchase a product from a huge major internet company versus like a sustainable local company, like the impact that I make on the world changes. The carbon footprint that I create changes. So yes, you should question those things. You should do all those things, but yeah, never quote me.
Linda Bendixson said, no questions, just love.
Oh, Linda, I love you so much. I will never forget the day that I was trading nail polishes with your daughter, Maria, in the bathroom during Awanas when we were supposed to be doing the national anthem. And I just am so grateful for the friendship that I've developed with you in adulthood as well. Thank you for always like listening to me. Like it's very easy, I think, to feel diminished as like the next generation whenever you're talking to somebody, but Linda always makes you feel like your opinions and your thoughts are important. Gosh, she's such a funny person. I love her so much.
Okay, segue.
Yeah.
Is Linda our next guest? Linda and Mark. We've been talking about doing some, Linda and Mark.
I have another story about Linda and Mark.
Ready, go.
I don't know. I got some notification on Facebook, creepy Facebook, that was like, Mark Bendixson is nearby when I was at work at Newark Airport. And I texted them, or I messaged Mark and I said, are you in Newark? And he was like, yeah, I'm actually here on like a few hour layover before I think they were going to Dublin for an anniversary or they were going on a trip together. So I went and hung out. It was like 3 years ago. And I went and hung out with them for like 30 minutes in the airport while I was working.
I missed traveling. Okay, we have coming up, Mike, I'll let you speak, but we have two performance requests. Mike, ready, go.
What?
Sorry, guys, I'm so lost in this.
No, that's the part where you read something. That's
highlighted for you.
I think that you're really special and valuable, and you really are important to this podcast. And I'm sorry for ever insulting you.
No worries.
And look how pretty your eyes are.
I think I'm supposed to say Casey Gilbert says, "Can you peace and tranquility on camera right now?"
So this was something that we did during Spamalot.
Don't even explain it. Just go. Just go.
Peace and tranquility. That's it.
And then one final request performance, because we're going to be heading into Dads After Dark soon. Your sister, Rachel Mitchell, can you do a little bit Alexis?
Hi, my name is Alexis Rose, represented by Alexis Rose Talent. I'm going to be singing a song from the critically reviewed show, A Little Bit Alexis. Okay, ready? Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
Yes, we're ready.
Yay. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
I'm a Lamborghini. I'm a Hollywood star. I'm a little bit tipsy when I drive my car. I'm expensive sushi. I'm a huge yacht. I'm a little bit single, even when I'm not. I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit of la 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 la. A little bit Alexis. La 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 la. A little bit Alexis.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's all we need.
Oh my goodness.
You asked for a performance, Dana.
That was fantastic. I don't know that I'll forget that anytime soon.
All right, so we have tons of questions. So for those of you who are waiting at the edge of your seat for your questions to be asked. If you are one like Kelsey Coleman or Jessica Lemons or Hannah Ferguson or the Great Comet or Terry Dobson, yeah, then stick around for Dads After Dark because your questions will be asked of the beautiful Kate Mitchell. But right now we need to go to Jennifer Riley's Fun Fact of the Week and start wrapping this up. So Dana, if you wouldn't mind pulling up Jennifer's video so that we can show it to our friends in YouTube land.
Hello, Diva Dads. I hope you have all had a wonderful week. This is Jen Riley, your fun fact correspondent here. And the fun fact for this week has to do with famous author Dr. Seuss. So Dr. Seuss's book, Green Eggs and Ham, was actually started as a bet between Seuss and his publisher. So the publisher bet that Seuss, or Theodore Geisel, couldn't write a book with 50 or fewer unique words. So basically the book could be longer than 50 words, but if you looked at the words used, there couldn't be more than 50 different words. Well, Seuss, surprise, surprise, won the bet by using exactly 50 unique words. And the prize? $50. Which in today's money is about $382. So that's a pretty good bet. So I have a question for you, Diva Dads. Do you have a favorite Dr. Seuss book? I'm so excited for this week's episode, and I look forward to seeing y'all soon. Talk to you later.
Okay, has anyone ever been to Esther's Follies in Austin, Texas?
Yes.
Okay, did y'all ever see the Green Eggs and Ham skit?
No.
It was a couple on a park bench, but instead of I do not like green eggs and ham, it was the girl telling the guy, I do not want to slam and bam. And I saw it like a dozen times and I was like, this is hilarious. I went back like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and I think it was with Molly and Brian. They were visiting from California, so they were in Austin, which is like their favorite city. And so we saw it in just like a post Me Too time. We saw it and we were like, this is really messed up and I don't think this is funny anymore, because in the end the guy just wore her down and she was like, all right, let's go do it in a box on a boat, like with the fox, like all these things. It's really funny, but like I was like, I don't think that I appreciate California.
Very
in
baby,
Austin, which is like their favorite city.
Yeah.
And so we saw
A
it.
Yeah, baby, it's cold outside.
But definitely Esther's Follies. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
No, that place is great. So funny.
Thanks, Jennifer.
So awesome. Thank you, Jennifer.
I love Jennifer. What a sweet soul.
All right, Mike, this is your big moment. Your big moment. Don't mess it up.
Well, we don't have anything
That's
written
the
down
internet
for him.
bad, you know. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much. Kate, thank you so much for being on the show. Amazing. It was awesome. You did amazing. So the other two guys, Adrian, amazing.
Oh, wait, his internet's cutting out. I'll finish.
Mike, thanks for being here.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Thank you so much, Diva folks, for watching. Make sure you visit us, TTCDivaDads.com. We need like 1 million hits before the end of the year. And you can connect with us any way you want to on social media, like TikTok, like me. Thank you so much for watching.